Hey there, it's Sandra, and today I have 5 tips to help you grow your Instagram following organically. So here we go. Tip number 1 is to definitely make sure that your account is beautiful and on brand, and that all of your colors and your images are high quality and they really work together. The reason is that your Instagram account really kind of becomes like a one-page website. It really needs to draw people in and tell a story. You want to make sure that you are telling a cohesive story with whatever it is, whether you're framing your account around a niche or your interests or a personality. You want to make sure that all of your images tell that same story and that they kind of support each other and they work together harmoniously and they're really cohesive. And you also want to make sure that your profile, make it descriptive, tell people about what it is this account is about. And this way, for the other strategies that I'm going to share with you, as people start to visit your account and they see your content, they see your images and everything, they're going to be more and more inclined to follow you because you're telling a strong, cohesive story and you're kind of pulling them in. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to go ahead and find some other brands in your niche or related to your interests and follow their followers. And you don't want to go crazy doing this. Don't go and follow 200 people in a day or anything like that. But here and there, follow other people. They'll be more inclined to follow you back, and you can also comment on their posts and everything. Don't just leave like a one-word comment. Leave something that's engaging and thoughtful. Looks like you put a little bit of effort into it, and that way people will be more inclined to come check out your account. In a similar way, you can look for hashtags related to your niche. And I'm not talking about hashtags to use in your posts right now. I'm going to get to that. But right now I'm just talking about looking for other posts that use related hashtags to your niche, and you can comment on their posts as well. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is to start getting into stories. I've noticed that I get a bump in traffic whenever I create stories, and they're tons of fun. So I would just go ahead and do it because organic reach on Instagram is starting to take a nosedive in the same way that Facebook organic reach is down. Instagram is starting to move to a more paid platform, and stories is kind of a way that you can circumvent the low reach on your posts. So if you create stories and you set up your settings so that they'll save to archive, you can also get those to show up on your profile, and they'll stay longer than 24 hours so that people will see your stories and if on your account. And so that's another way that you can engage people and kind of get more visibility. In addition to that, you can use hashtags and location tags on your stories, and therefore give yourself a chance to get found by people that aren't your followers. You can maybe even show up on the Explorer page in Instagram. So that's a way for you to get a little bit more exposure if you use the hashtags. And if you use a location tag, let's say you're at an event and you use a location tag, then you'll appear for those types of searches. So that's another way that you can do it. And again, the added benefit of it being able to stay on your profile is totally awesome because they don't disappear after 24 hours anymore. You can even create a cool about you, right, story, and that way maybe that's the first story people see, and you can let people know what you're all about and engage them that way. Anything that you can do to, while we're starting to increase visibility, make people also want to stick around and see what else you have to post, right? So these are kind of working hand in hand. So tip number 4 is to make sure that you are posting consistently and try to up it if you can. And what I mean by that is post a little bit more frequently. I've noticed that I get more followers, I get more engagement when I post 3 times a day. I used to think that it was 1 time a day was all you wanted to do, but I feel like if you can post a little bit more, you get more followers and you get more engagement. And when you post, try to spend a little bit of time on your comment, the description that you leave there, and try to initiate engagement with it. So put something a little bit thought-provoking and then throw it back to people, ask them a question, and start encouraging them to engage with you, because Instagram is checking this out. They're looking at your number of followers, they're looking at your engagement, and they're kind of giving you an overall score. So the more that you can, have a high score, then the better off you're going to be able to be with this next tip, which is my last tip and the most important tip, is to focus on a hashtag strategy. So hashtag strategies have to do with that Instagram score. So if you are a big account and you have a lot of followers and you have a lot of engagement, you're going to be able to show up, you're going to be able to rank for very highly competitive hashtags, like hashtags that have 1 million posts or 300,000 posts or 200,000 posts. But if you're a smaller account, there's no way you're going to show up for those highly competitive hashtags. So you don't want to kind of be just random with your hashtags and use any hashtags. You want to be starting to get strategic with the hashtags that you're using, and you want to find out where you are currently, what your level of competition is, like where's your playing ground, right, that you have the potential to rank for on Instagram. And the way to do that is to start collecting a number of hashtags related to your niche, related to your interest and the types of things that you post about, and start to kind of write them down on a spreadsheet, whether you use Google Docs or Notes or Evernote, whatever it is. You're going to start to want to create a spreadsheet and start to collect some data about your account and about the hashtags that you should be using. So first off, start out with a clean spreadsheet and start just writing down some of the common hashtags that you would use in your posts. And then I want you to look for related hashtags and ones that have a range of competition levels. So you want to start looking for hashtags with 1,000 posts or 5,000 posts, 10,000 posts, 20,000 posts. You want to mix it up because you're going to start using this range of hashtags in your posts to start seeing if you show up in Instagram's recommended posts. So they're popular posts. So that's kind of what you're doing. You want to start to, use those mix of hashtags and then use them in your posts, and then a little bit later in the day, go back and search for those same hashtags and see if you appear. See which ones you appear for. So let's say you're a new account and you appear for hashtags with 5,000 posts. Then that means that's your playing field. You're in a playing field of that level of competition. So that's the number that you're looking for with any hashtag you're looking for. That's where you want to be. So you can start then to look for other hashtags that have that same level of competition and continue using them for about a month. And then you're going to check back, do the same rotation, use maybe up it a little bit, right? Go for some higher competition key hashtags, and then see where you're at there. Do the same thing, wait a little bit later in the day, go back, check those hashtags, see if your ranking overall in Instagram has come up and your score is higher. See if you can start going for those higher competitive keywords. So I wouldn't just lowball it right out of the bat and say, well, I'm a new account, so that means I'm just going to automatically look for hashtags with 500 posts. You don't want to do that because remember, competition equals popularity. So more competitive hashtags mean that more people are searching for them. So if you just lowball it, then you're not really going to be seen by that many posts. It's going to have the same effect as if you go for way high hashtags and you just aren't anywhere on the map. So you want to do this strategically so that you can really find out where you're at, because you want to keep knocking on the door and bumping up your level inch by inch. And so with this strategy, you'll likely be able to do that. And that way more people will be exposed to your post and your account, and more people will have the opportunity to follow you because you're going to be creating a really, really awesome account. Everything's going to be on brand. You're engaging with your comments, you're engaging with stories and everything like that. So I hope that gives you some direction. If you have any more questions, let me know and I'll be glad to help.